What's up, everybody? It's Anand from UnderDarkStrand.com, and today I'm going to talk about what is the best protein powder available out there. Now, I get asked this question all the time. My goal with this video is to educate you so that you can make a better decision when buying a protein powder next time. So, first of all, the question is, do you really need to use a protein powder? And the short answer is no. You don't absolutely need to use a protein powder, and the only reasons why you should use a protein powder is, first of all, you don't get enough protein from food. So let's say your goal is to get 200 grams of protein a day, but you're only getting about 150 grams a day. What you can do is you can add in 2 scoops of protein and make it 200. Second reason to use a protein supplement is if you're a vegetarian or vegan. uh, it, you most likely have a harder time getting enough protein from vegetarian or vegan sources, and a lot of these sources, especially if you're vegan, are considered as incomplete proteins. And this simply means that the protein does not contain all of the essential amino acids that your body needs. And the thing about essential amino acids is that your body has to get these essential amino acids from food. But the good news is that when you combine different protein sources, even if you're vegan, you can usually get complete protein sources. But you would have to be very uh, particular about your diet and making sure that you get enough of the essential amino acids from protein. But if you were to supplement with the protein powder, not only would you get enough protein, but you would also make sure that you get in all the essential amino acids. The third reason to use a protein supplement is for convenience. Now, it's you can easily get protein from food, but you would have to actually prepare some food and actually have to spend time making it and eating it. Whereas if you were to just simply take a protein supplement, it's very convenient to just put it in a shaker or even stir it up and get your protein that way. The third reason is cost. Now, this might not be true if you're living outside of America, because usually protein is much more expensive outside of the US, and in some cases it can even cost about twice as much. But if you live in the US, and depending on where you buy your protein from, it can definitely be a lot cheaper than buying or consuming protein from other sources such as meat, which can be more expensive. And the final reason why you should use a protein supplement is for taste. Now, many of us have a sweet tooth, and especially while dieting, we avoid things that are sweet or high in sugar because they're also high in calories. Consuming a protein shake can help you satisfy your sweet tooth and can prevent cravings. So there are 5 basic types of protein powders you can buy. The first one is milk proteins. Milk consists of 2 types of proteins. The first one is whey, which is the most popular form of protein powder out there, and the other form is casein. Now, milk by itself is about 80% casein and about 20% whey. Whey is considered to be a fast digesting and fast absorbing source of protein. It is also very high in your branched chain amino acids, especially leucine. The other form of protein, casein, is considered to be a slower digesting source, and people like to have it usually at night so that they can get a slow and steady stream of protein while they're sleeping. The second source is egg protein. Now, eggs by themselves are pretty rich in protein, especially if you look at egg whites, they're almost pure protein. The third type is plant protein. These are becoming much more popular in recent times, especially people who are vegetarian or vegan and don't want to consume dairy or other animal based protein sources. This is a viable option. And usually these are your rice protein, pea protein, soy protein, etc. The fourth type of protein that you can buy is beef protein. And finally, the last category is mass gainers and protein blends. So out of all of these, which one should you buy? So let's have a look at Amazon.com. So I simply search for protein powder, and you will see that there's over 22,000 results. So it's for beginners especially, it's nearly impossible to tell which one you should buy. So the first thing you want to do is just scroll down and select new, because you definitely don't want to buy a used protein powder. Okay, so the next thing you will see is that there's so many different choices. Let's go with the first category, which is whey protein. And Optimum Nutrition's 100% whey gold standard is probably the most popular whey protein for the past 10 plus years or so. Okay, so let's have a look at this product. So when selecting a protein, the first thing you want to look at is the actual protein content. Because you're buying and paying for a protein powder, you want to get the most amount of protein possible. Whey protein is usually at least 80% protein by weight. So if you were to consume 100 grams of whey, you would get around 80 grams of protein from it. So if you look at the label, this scoop size is 30.4 grams. So let's just say it's 30 grams. And the total amount of protein you get out of it is 24 grams. So this is right at 80%. I would say 80% is the bare minimum we should go for to make sure that you get the most protein for the money that you're spending. And it also has a trace amount of fat, 1 gram of fat, and 3 grams of carbohydrates per serving. So this is not bad. Let's look at another product. So this product is a protein blend of whey, casein, milk isolate. Um, so the first thing you want to look at any protein powder is you want to look at the label. Okay, if you look at the label over here, the scoop size is, I don't know if you can see this, but it's 47 grams, and the actual protein content is only 22 grams. So in this product, you have 6 grams of fat, 15 grams of carbohydrates, and 22 grams of protein. And the actual protein content is not even 50%. Okay, so the next thing you want to look for is the actual ingredients in the product. And this is also usually located just under the label. In the US, all the ingredients are listed in descending order. So the ingredient that is present in the highest quantity will be listed first. So you have your protein blend as the first ingredient, which is good because most of the product is protein. And the protein blend consists of whey protein isolates, whey protein concentrate, and whey peptides. Um, Basically, whey protein concentrate is good for most people, and it is about 80% protein by weight. The the difference between whey protein concentrate and whey protein isolate is isolate is processed uh, after you have whey protein concentrate. It's processed one more time, and this removes the amount of fat and carbohydrates and lactose present in whey even further. So whey is already pretty high in protein, so isolate is even slightly more pure than even concentrate by weight. But other than that, there's no major difference in terms of your recovery or muscle mass or anything like that. If you don't have any issues with lactose, whey protein concentrate should be good for you. Whey protein isolate is usually has more protein by weight. So if whey protein concentrate has 80% protein by weight, whey isolate should have like 84-85% protein by weight, which is pretty good. But on the downside, whey isolate is also much more expensive. So if you have to look at if how much you want to spend on it. The next ingredient is we're looking at the chocolate flavor. So the next ingredient is the cocoa powder, and then the next one after that is the lecithin, which is which kind of gives it a more creamier texture, I guess. And then you have your natural and artificial flavors. The next ingredient is acesulfame potassium, which is the sweetener that they've used to sweeten this product. So this product has no sugar; it's a sugar-free product, but they use these artificial sweeteners to sweeten it, and these should be fine in moderation. Artificial sweeteners. Then they have aminogen, which I believe is they've added some extra enzymes to make it easier to digest, and lactase, which is lactase will help you digest lactose. So we looked at the ingredients, and this is very important because you want to buy a protein powder with as few ingredients as possible, because when you start adding more ingredients, it's usually it will contain a lot of fillers which you don't need. And some of these ingredients are things like maltodextrin, dextrose, creatine, which really have no place when you're buying a protein powder. So we looked at the protein content by weight. We looked at the ingredients. The next thing you want to look at is the amino acid profile. So when you look at the amino acids, we have three types of amino acids. We have your essential amino acids, you have conditionally essential amino acids, and non-essential amino acids. Um, Essential amino acids are those amino acids that you can only get from food, and our bodies do not manufacture essential amino acids by themselves. Out of these eight essential amino acids, the three most important amino acids when it comes to muscle mass are leucine, isoleucine, and valine. And these three together are known as branched chain amino acids, or BCAAs, that you can see over here. Now this product has 5.5 grams of total BCAAs. So out of the 24 grams of protein we get, 5.5 grams is actually BCAAs, which is really good. And BCAAs are usually in a ratio of 2 is to 1 is to 1. So leucine um, is usually double in quantity when compared to isoleucine and valine. So at least half of the 5.5 grams, so about 2.75 grams, is going to be leucine, which again is really good. So when looking at the amino acid profile, you want to make sure that at least 10% of the total protein is leucine. So if the protein per serving is 24 grams, you want at least 2.4 grams or so of leucine. So now that we looked at the amino acid profile and we know that this product contains a good amount of BCAAs, the next thing we want to make sure is that the BCAAs or the amino acids that are in the product are not added, that you want to make sure that these amino acids occur naturally in the protein, because if the companies start adding extra amino acids, this concept is known as amino spiking. If you want to learn more, you can simply Google amino spiking, and basically what these companies do is that they add in some extra cheap amino acids to boost up the protein content. So if the product has about 20 grams of protein, which is naturally occurring, they might add in 5 extra grams of amino acids and then list it as 25 grams of protein, whereas the actual protein content is only 20 grams. So here's a brand that is pretty popular, and you might have seen these protein powders at stores like Walmart. Now, if you look at the price, it's pretty decent. It's not a great price, but it's a bit cheaper than, let's say, Optimum Nutrition. Now let's have a look at the actual label. Okay, so if you have a look over here, the scoop size is 49 grams, so almost 50 grams, and the protein that you get is only 30 grams out of the 50 grams. So that's about 60% only. Now, like we discussed earlier, you want to aim for at least 80% protein per serving. So basically, you're for paying this price for a lot less protein, and you're getting a lot more carbohydrates, so 9 grams of carbs and 2 grams of fats. But that still does not add up to 50 grams, right? 30 plus 9 is 39, plus 2 is 41. So where is the remaining 8 grams coming from? Yeah, so about 7 grams of these are added amino acids. So they've added a BCA blend, it seems like. They've added some creatine. So that's where the difference comes from. Let's have a look at the ingredients. Now, if you look at the ingredients, it's so protein is the first ingredient, meaning that that's the most prominent ingredient in there. But then you also see things like maltodextrin, which is a form of sugar, cocoa powder. So I probably would not recommend this product unless you want something really cheap. But it's not even that cheap. So after looking at this product and the amount of protein you get, which is only about 60%, and the number of ingredients that are in this product, you probably don't want to go for this product. If a product contains more than 5 or 6 ingredients, it's probably not worth it. The next thing you want to look at is the quality of the protein and the manufacturing practices. Now, Optimum Nutrition is considered to be one of the top brands because it is owned by Glanbia, which is one of the largest dairy producers in the world, and they may make their own protein, whereas a lot of companies actually don't manufacture their own protein. So you want to make sure that the brand that you buy is a good brand. It follows the GMP or good manufacturing practices, and you want to, if you see the label here, it says manufactured by Optimum Nutrition. Okay, so the next thing you want to look at is the price. Usually Amazon does a good job of giving you the price. So this is about $14 per pound. This product has about 29 servings, right? And it's about $29. So you're gonna pay about $1 per serving or one scoop. So when you're making a comparison and you're looking at different protein powders that you find that match those things, you have the required amount of protein. It's that does not have extra amino acids. The natural amino acid profile is good. The manufacturing practices are good. Then you can compare prices that way. So I suggest that you look up different brands that are good, and the ones that you feel are good products, maybe compare like 3 to 5 products and look at the price per serving. The next thing you want to look at is the taste. Now, these days it's really hard to find a really bad tasting protein powder, simply because of competition and for how many years these protein powders have been on the market. If you want to take a look at the taste, you could look up the reviews and see what people are talking about. The final thing you want to look at is the reliability. Now, a lot of these protein manufacturers have actually been pretty notorious for not meeting label claims. So, meaning whatever they write on the label, it's not usually accurate. They might say that the label has 24 grams of protein, but when they actually test it, you'll find that they have a lot less protein than what is on the label. So companies like Labdoor have done some independent testing, and they've ranked these protein powders based on their testing. So my protein ISO Pro 97 is number one. Muscle Feast grass fed whey is number two. So I mean, these results may not be 100% accurate, but they might give you a good idea about what brands are good and what brands actually meeting the label claims. So I personally have used a lot of these top brands. I currently use My Protein. I've also used Now Foods. I've also used Dymatize. I've used um, Optimum Nutrition, MRM. So I encourage you to check out these independent testing done on protein powders. So the protein that I use is My Protein, but I don't actually buy it from Amazon. I buy it through the My Protein website, which is myprotein.com. Now the prices that we looked on Amazon were for good protein powders were about $1 per serving, right? So if you look at My Protein's line, this is one of the most popular brands out there. Usually, what I've found is with a discount, you can get it as low as uh, 50 cents a pound, which is it's significantly cheaper than buying Optimum Nutrition, um, and the quality is one of the best in the world. The only drawback that I found is that the taste might not be as good as you might expect. It's definitely not bad, but it's there's a lot of different popular protein powders out there which taste a lot better. So if taste is something that is important to you, then you might want to look at other brands. It might end up costing more, but it's based on your preference. The next type of protein that we discussed was egg protein. Now, egg protein can be a good source of protein. It's high in your BCAAs or branched chain amino acids. The protein content is also really good. So over here you can see that out of 34 grams you get 24 grams of protein, which is about 70%. So it's a little bit lower than whey, but the amino acid profile should be pretty good. I'm, I don't think the taste is very good compared to whey protein. Now, taste is very subjective, and obviously, you don't have a lot of options when comparing with whey. So, you have very few brands that actually make good egg protein, and very few brands that have good flavors. And if you look at the price over here, it's almost 4 times as much as whey protein. So, for this reason, I don't recommend that you go for egg protein. The next category of protein is plant protein, or vegan sources of protein. These have become pretty good in recent years. Um, Again, if you want to go for a brand, the first thing, like with any product, you want to look at the protein content. So one scoop is 46 grams, but the actual protein is only 21 grams. So it's about 40 or 45% protein by weight. And you probably don't want to go for this if you're buying a if you're looking for a protein powder. Now there's so many different brands, so this one is the best seller. If you look at this one, yeah, have a look at the label. So this one is pretty good. So out of 30 grams you're getting 20 grams of protein, which is pretty good for a vegan protein powder. It's also got a decent amount of leucine. So whey usually has about over 2 grams of leucine per serving, and this has about 1.5, but it's not that bad. And usually for vegan protein powder, I think you should go for a protein blend and instead of a single protein powder, to make sure that you get all the essential amino acids. The next type of protein powder that we have is beef protein. Now I usually would recommend staying away from beef protein because a lot of these companies, they add in things like gelatin or collagen, which are not nearly as bioavailable as whey, and they typically have a poor amino acid profile. Now, if you look at this product, it seems like it's a decent price. So for about five, the claim over here is that it's more concentrated than steak and more concentrated than whey isolate. Now, I don't think this is true because if you look at the actual label, the serving size is 36 grams, but the actual protein is only 23 grams. So this product is only about 60% protein by weight, whereas whey is about 80% protein by weight. For this reason, I don't think this is a good price at all. Now, there's many other products available out there, but beef protein powders are not available everywhere. If you're a vegetarian, you probably don't want a beef protein powder. Uh, the amino acid profile isn't that great, and the price also is not that great. I've never tried it myself, so I don't know how the flavor is. If you want to give it a try, you can try it out and let me know what you think. And then the last category we have is mass gainers. Now, I would not recommend mass gainers for over 99% of the people simply because I don't even consider them to be protein powders. And the reason for this is, let's have a look at the ingredient. Let's have a look at the how much protein you get. So one scoop size is 334 grams, which is almost 10 times as much as a regular serving size of whey protein. But and if you look at the protein content, it's only 50 grams. So this product is not even 20% protein by weight. So it's like you're paying a lot of money for a lot of carbohydrates, and most of these carbohydrates are actually sugars. Now, the reason why I don't recommend mass gainers is it's simply you're paying extra money to get a bunch of extra sugar and a bunch of extra fat, whereas you can easily get that from food. And if you don't want to eat food, you can add in, uh, let's say you want to add in carbohydrates, you can add in some fruit like bananas to your regular protein shake and drink it that way. The next type of whey protein powder is popularly known as hydro whey or hydrolyzed whey protein. One of the processes of digestion is known as hydrolysis, and according to the claims made by these companies, this protein is easier to absorb and faster to absorb because it is almost like pre-digested. So the process of hydrolysis breaks down the protein into the actual amino acids that the body absorbs. So let's have a look at this product, which is one of the most popular ones out there. Now, I would not recommend this product because it is super expensive. And if you look at the actual label, one scoop is 39 grams and you only get 30 grams of protein out of it. So it's only about 70% protein by weight. And just because it absorbs a little bit faster necessarily does not mean that it is better in any way. There is no evidence to show that this is better in any way. The final category that I want to talk about is casein protein, which is also a form of milk protein. Now, usually I don't recommend casein because it's quite expensive when compared to whey protein, and even if you get a good price, it you may have trouble with the mixability. Usually doesn't mix very well. Uh, the taste is usually pretty good, and I really like it's actually more filling than whey protein. So if you're dealing with hunger and you want a satisfying snack that will keep you fuller for longer, then casein is a good choice. But these are pretty expensive. Now the casein product that I use and recommend is again from My Protein. So if you go to myprotein.com, you can look up casein and milk protein. So this product is your casein powder, uh, but the one that I use is called Milk Protein Smooth. So it's a blend of whey and casein, just like milk. So it's a 4:1 ratio. So about 80% of this is casein, and 20% of this is whey. And if you look at the actual nutritional information, per 30 grams, you get over 25 grams of protein, which is really good. It's about 85% protein by weight, and you only get 0.4 grams of fat and 1.9 grams of carbohydrate. I usually go for the unflavored one. So if you don't want to worry about things like added fillers, flavorings, artificial sweeteners, you can go for this one. So that was my video on how to select the best protein powder. Uh, First of all, you do not need a protein powder, and you should only use a protein powder if you don't get enough from food, if you're a vegetarian or vegan, for convenience, for cost, and for taste. And we went over all these types of protein powders. So whey is the most popular form of protein powder because it is one of the most bioavailable forms of protein. It's very rich in branched chain amino acids. It's usually widely available everywhere. It tastes really good. Casein is also a good option. Egg protein can also be a good option, but it can be also be very expensive. Plant protein is a great option for vegans, and these days we have a lot of choice. Beef protein is something that I would not recommend, and mass gainers is also something I would not recommend. And when buying a protein powder, the first thing you want to look at is the total protein content. So how much protein does it have per scoop or per serving? You want to make sure that you get at least 80% protein by weight. The second thing you want to look for is ingredients. The fewer the ingredients, the better. Look out for things like added amino acids or added sugars like dextrose, maltodextrin, and things like that. The third thing you want to look at is the amino acid profile. You want to make sure that it has a good amount of branched chain amino acids. Like I would say about 5 grams of branched chain amino acids per 25 grams of protein. It's pretty good. So that's about 20%. Um, the next thing you want to look at is the manufacturing quality. Make sure that the company follows good manufacturing practices. The next thing you want to look at is price. So how much do you actually pay per scoop of protein or per serving? And the next thing is taste, which is subjective. So you're gonna have to read some reviews or try some different flavors for yourself. And the last thing we looked at was reliability, using the lab test results. You want to make sure that the company, whatever they claim on the label, is actually there in that label. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, and please subscribe to my channel for more content like this. I'll see you guys next time.